guys and the gals that are going to fly this airplane, they have to be properly trained. But we can't just take them out and train them in the airplane. It's going to be cost prohibitive. This airplane is going to cost between $1,500 and $2,000 an hour just to fly. So you can't hop in and say, okay, well, I'm going to be your trainer. Oops, you missed the turn on the taxiway, or we do something in the air. We're a nonprofit. We just don't have that funding. So we're going to do it in the simulator, just as I did with the Air Canada pilots at Air Canada. And the first time they actually saw the real airplane, there were passengers sitting behind them. We're going to do the same thing here, but that will be my contribution. I've been in aviation all my life. When I was in high school, one of my high school music teachers was an ex-RAF pilot, and that man just had such a profound effect on me, and he could do just about anything. He got me involved into aviation by taking me one day for a flight in a glider, and I got hooked. So off I went to college in Kingston in a civil technology program. And while I was there, I was living with another young man who was at Queen's in engineering. And we both decided that engineers and technologists don't make a lot of money, but airline pilots do. So we walked out to the local flying club and said to the manager of the flying club, we want to be airline pilots. And he fell off his chair laughing and said, yeah, and so do I. Well, I went home and convinced my mom to take a second mortgage out on the house, and I walked back into the flying club along with Andy, who did pretty much the same thing with his parents. And Mr. Timlin was sitting across the table and said, oh, boy, you're back. And we said, yes, we want to start flying, and we're going to be airline pilots. In about a little less than a year, I had got my private commercial, my multi-engine, my instrument rating, and I got a job at that school teaching. So I taught flying for about 4 years, and in the late 70s I was very, very fortunate and was hired by Air Canada. So I worked at Air Canada until my 60th birthday on the 24th of May 2011, when it was my last flight. It is my passion. I love flying, I love teaching, and I love to see success. A gentleman said, well, Steve, you've been in the aviation industry an awful long time, and you probably know all about the Arrow. And out in Springbank, they have an Avro museum. I said, well, we have to go. And that was 5.5 or 6 years ago.
Now, aviation enthusiasts are so interested in the Arrow, partially because of what it could do and what was achieved with it, but mostly because of how it was destroyed. It was a time when Canada was at the very top of the aviation industry. What they had achieved with the Arrow for a very small country was nothing short of extraordinary. And through a government decision, all of that capability was destroyed. Avro attracted the best and the brightest in the industry. People would quit their jobs to come to work for them just for the challenge of what these guys were doing. Our focus is on preserving the achievements of the people of Avro. It was a remarkable achievement. People focus on the Arrow because it's this big flashy thing, and it was. You look at this thing that looks like it came out of a sci-fi movie next to 1950s vintage cars, and here's this computerized supersonic aircraft that's half again bigger than this hangar, and this small group of people did it. Everybody said it couldn't be done, but they did it. But it's not like everything disappeared. It didn't. The stuff for the Arrow, there was some fragments of it left. Certainly there was enough detailed information for us to not only get a very large archive, but to create the 0.6 scale aircraft that you see going together there. Our primary purpose is still the museum. People see that nifty aircraft we're building, but that thing's job is to support the museum, not vice versa. Its job is to go to air shows, put it on, and say, this is a part of the history. Go look it up. Become interested in what happened and why.
Years ago, the museum and the build was called the Avro 2000 project. Well, that was 2 decades ago. The idea was that the airplane would be flying a long time ago. I have set a personal goal to have this airplane in the air by 2025.
I think it's achievable. It's going to be a lot of work. We all want to see this thing fly before we die.
It's rather ambitious given our past history, but I think it's attainable. You do hit walls, but they can be hurdled. And we're damn well going to get this airplane done, and I'm going to fly it.